Good afternoon, everybody. It's Martin S51989 here once again, and now I'm back with something else. Now it's time for another retrospective video, and today is a retrospective on a famous game show host, a former game show host, as today is his birthday, and I can tell you that with this person, he is now the oldest celebrity in which I have ever done a retrospective video about. And if you know which game show host I'm talking about, well, he was host of a popular CBS daytime game show for 35 years. That game show's still in the air, but now has a different host. But for the original host, that was for 35 years. If you know which game show host I'm talking about, that former game show host is none other than the legendary Bob Barker. That's right, Bob Barker, and he's the oldest because Bob Barker is turning 87 years old today, as he was born this day back on December 12th, 1923. Now Bob Barker has had big fame on the game shows. I don't know what he did prior to '72, but then his real big game show fame started as being the host of the show called The Price is Right. Of course, it debuted as The New Price is Right when it first premiered on CBS daytime television back on September 4th, 1972. That's what really made his fame begin, and he would be the big host of The Price is Right for 35 years. That's right, as I said, from its premiere on September 4th, 1972, all the way up to his retirement in June of 2007. And Bob's last Price is Right show aired not just in daytime, but it also aired in prime time on CBS on June 15th, 2007. And for the pricing games played, there were many on the show. Of course, one pricing game in particular, not only was it the very first pricing game ever played on The New Price is Right, but it would also be the very last pricing game played on Bob Barker's final show as host, which that game was none other than Any Number, which that was a game where a contestant had to guess the proper numbers to see if they could win a car, another small prize, or end up winning what was in the piggy bank. But anyways, he was a big host, and he's had a lot of great things. Of course, Bob Barker's appearance did change while on the show, because up for the years until the 1980s, Bob Barker's hair was a little bit darker, and then he was okay with dark hair, but then later on in the 80s, as he got older, his hair color changed, and then he later returned and finally had gray hair, which I think a lot of people who are Bob Barker fans, they probably liked Bob having gray hair even a little bit better than the dark hair, in which he would in which Bob Barker still has the gray hair as of today. Hey, since it is good, and it's fun because Bob, after all, Bob is pretty good. But of course, Bob isn't just a game show wasn't just a former game show host. Bob Barker also is an animal rights activist as well. Because the reason what caused him to get into this, there was one year when Bob was to host a big beauty pageant on television, and by the reason why activist, there was one thing he didn't like. He didn't like anything that used fur in it. So for that pageant, he wanted to make sure that the male participants in the pageant, they made sure they wore some fashionable stuff, but as long as it wasn't made of fur. However, they disobeyed, and the fashionable models ended up wearing fur coats instead. And Bob did not like it so much that he never would host the pageant again. But with his animal rights activism, that calmly made him caused him to say a big statement at the end of every Price is Right show, in which he would say, "Bob Barker reminding you to help control the pet population. Don't forget to have your pet spayed or neutered." and like this, but other statements that he said on The Price is Right, often after one bids, he kindly said the words, the actual retail price, and others, and of course a few others, but anyways, it's still good of having that. But the animal rights activist thing, of course, that statement still gets said by Drew Carey in his time on the show. Oh, Drew Carey still hosts the show as of this day. But for Bob Barker, for Bob, yeah, of course, Bob Barker also did make one minor screen film appearance as well, because it was in the 1990s and 1996 in the Adam Sandler movie Happy Gilmore. That's right, I say Adam Sandler that stars him. There is one scene, a golfing scene, where this is where Adam and Bob are playing golf, but then Adam ends up attacking Bob and all this, and he says, "The price is wrong!" I won't say the last word because it's a swear. So, yeah, kind of like this. But Bob Barker is able to get up, and then he strikes back to Adam and says, "Now you've had enough!" But again, I won't say the last word. It's the same swear as what it is. But I know AubreyMan62187 loves Adam Sandler, and he's a big Price is Right fan. So I know he's seen Happy Gilmore more, so that's good. He might watch that movie again. But as I said, Bob Barker still is a famous legendary game show. Was still a great game show host. I'm glad he's still enjoying his retirement. Of course, he also did make one special appearance in a Drew Carey hosted episode of The Price is Right to help Drew along with the showcase, which even made it more interesting, of course, back then. And it's a good thing Bob Barker was even able to help with the contestants' thanks to the former Price is Right announcers, with both Johnny Olson, Roddy, and Rich Fields, respectively. But Bob, as I said, he's still his career on The Price is Right as host of The Price is Right will never be forgotten, even after retirement. Because so after having 35 years of hosting The Price is Right, Bob still is enjoying his retirement as of today, and Bob Barker still will be a great game show host, and as I said, happy 87th birthday to you, Bob. And I'm glad you all got to see me. I'm glad you all got to come on down to see this retrospective video. So, there you go. Anyways, that wraps it up for my retrospective video on Bob Barker. I hope you all enjoyed it. And for speaking of retrospective videos, my next video will also be a retrospective video, and it'll be on someone else who was also so famous. It'll be a more famous actor, and that will and I'll film that video tomorrow. But so until tomorrow, have a good day, and if you want to see the other videos, then come on down.